Hi there, welcome back to the Kellner Chronicles episode 22. Today we're going to look at Philippines LDRs. Can your relationship survive? We asked the question, LDR being long distance relationship. But before we start that, I'd like to thank everyone who subscribed recently, which is a shed load of people. The Kellner Chronicles family is now 1,090 subscribers big. My, I never thought that. I've had a hell of a lot of Filipino subscribers, and Western subscribers, and subscribers from everywhere. My God, I never thought that. Thank you so much, guys. I did thank you in my live stream if you caught it. If you didn't, please view, and all my other videos. And if you haven't yet subscribed, please do. We'd like to have more as part of the Kellner Chronicle family. We want you, we need you, and we hope to inform you. So if you want to watch this video and you want to know more about long distance relationships, my wife and I have a lot of experience on this. This is a very personal one to me. So if you want to see it, stay tuned. We'll be back in a minute. Bye-bye. Hi there, welcome back to the Kellner Chronicles, episode 22. Philippines LDR. Can we survive it, or can your relationship survive it? Yes, as I was saying earlier in the intro, my wife and I have a hell of a lot of experience. I'm going to give you a brief outlook so you get an idea of what we're going to deal with in this video. My wife and I have been together for over 11 years. We've been married. We're now into our 8th year of marriage. So we spent the first 3.5 or so years in LDRs. Wasn't an easy time for us. It was very difficult, and it became more and more stressful as the time went on. Through either paperwork or legalities or this, that, the other, it became very difficult. Even when we got married, it took time for my wife to come here to Gibraltar because of paperwork constraints. So today we're going to look at the cons and then the pros. We're going to summarize everything up, and then we're going to look at what the final idea is on this. Okay, so we all know that with COVID, we've all been stuck at home. A lot of people have gone back from the Philippines and from other countries. They've gone home for many reasons. Family commitments, financial commitments, medical commitments, and they've all had to go home. A lot of the time leaving their loved ones behind. Now, we know that we have a lot of expats that go to the Philippines from different countries, mostly from the West. And you're going to have a situation where you will have your loved ones stay behind. Now, COVID's been a real pusher for that, and the lockdowns have been a real pusher for that. Lucy was stuck in the Philippines for 4.5 months, another long distance thing, but we dealt with it. And I'm going to try to give you guidelines to help you deal with it. It's up to you how you take it, and ultimately your responsibility to how or whether or not you deal with it properly. Who's to say? But you can get through this. LDRs, relationships can survive, and they have done in the past. I've seen many vloggers having to return home for whatever reason, leaving their Filipino behind. Now, this doesn't matter if you're straight, if you're gay, if you're whatever you want to be. This isn't a gender-orientated thing, whether it's a male Filipino with a Western woman, or a Western man with a female Filipino, or female or male Filipino. You know, we're not judging here. That's not what we're here for. Love is love. And in this modern day and age, we just have to deal with it. So let's look at the cons. You're obviously, the first one is the different countries. You could be American, she could be Filipino, or he could be Filipino, and you're stuck thousands of miles apart. The same as being any Westerner from any Western country. That's always a problem. Because that is distance. The separation of each other. There's nothing harder than being separated from the person you want to be with. That's a real kicker. It's the one thing that burnt me up. It'll put a test on your resolve, a test on your spirit, a test on your love. And it'll put a real strain on your relationship. Remember, these are all cons. The no physical contact. Even though being physical with someone is only part of a relationship, it is quite a large part. And we have to look at that and say, can I really cope without that? It's a very hard thing to do. Okay, in a very more open society that we have, physicality seems to be a big issue. And therefore, nobody wants to lose it or miss out on it. Even just holding hands down the street, a cuddle, a kiss. Those simple things mean a lot. So then comes the honesty and trust side. That is going to be strained beyond belief. That is the cons of these. Your honesty and trust levels on your relationship, no matter which side you're on, are going to be tested beyond anything you've ever experienced. And it's all up to you what you do. If you bite the bullet and just hold on and be patient, maybe you'll get there. Deception. Deception is another one. It's so easy to be weak and have a fling, go off with somebody else. And we're talking either side. There is no good and bad here. Either side could do it. Once again, it reverts back to physical contact. People need that. So deception could always be a big issue with this. The length of separation. You could be separated a few months. You could be separated for a year, maybe longer, sometimes 2. Who knows? And that is a big one. The longer that you're separated from someone, emotions, I wouldn't say would die. No, that's the wrong term. The emotions can be slightly forgotten about. You start to become a bit more numb. And therefore, we're always looking for another attention or attention from somewhere. Once again, reverting back to deception, we may end up making mistakes that we never planned to make, thus hurting our partner that we never planned to hurt. Right, moving on. Temptation. Kind of covered that a little bit just now, but temptation is always there. As your partner's not with you, you'll meet someone along the road, cute, smart, who's got all the talk, got all the walk, got all the sexy, and you're slightly attracted to that person. And you're tempted. This person's come off really good to you, makes you laugh, makes you smile, catches your eye. It happens. But it's whether you take that leap and commit the deception or betrayal. There's the other part, the anger, the boredom, and the loneliness. Why do I say anger? Anger's part more frustration, really, because to be away from someone for so long can be extremely frustrating to the point that it angers you. You know, you want to be with that person. You may even start blaming that person for why you can't be with them, even though it's not their fault. Or you may be blaming yourself. And the boredom. Now, the boredom, it depends on how you take things. And I'll explain a bit more of that when we get to the pros. Boredom can be a real killer. It can be a real emotion killer. And it can even help destroy the relationship. But once again, that's up to you. A lot of this comes down to personal and inner strength. Whether you're willing to fight for what you have, to stay faithful to what you have, and to be there for what you have. Big one, isn't it? Okay. Then there's the loneliness. Once again, you know, physical separation, the distance, and the loneliness kicks in. You want to be talking to your partner. You want to be there for your partner. You want to be with your partner, but you can't. No matter how much you want it, doesn't make it going to happen. Other things are in the way. And then there's the financial concerns. Are you supporting your partner? Cost you money. Maybe you don't have enough to get back when you wanted to. You know, maybe you feel or you've heard that your partner's betraying you and you don't want to send any more money because you want to believe other people's crap. These are all things to take in concerns, and they're the cons. Okay? Things to watch out for. Now we're going to go to the pros. To combat the loneliness, the boredom, and the should we say psychological separation, you have Skype, FaceTime, FB Messenger, and others. Now, in my relationship with my wife, when I was still courting her, should we say, dating her, and we were separated, we spent hours and hours and hours every day. You know, we both rush home to get onto Skype, just to talk, just to hear her voice, just to see her face, would make my day that much more special, and it helped ease it off. We'd talk about everything, we'd laugh, we'd joke, we'd fight, we'd, be angry with each other, we'd cry, we'd miss each other, but there was that connection. And that's the great thing with modern day technology, is you have that benefit, and that is a huge pro. You won't realize how much of a huge pro that is until you start in an LDR. There's also a slight con with that one as well, is when the person stops coming online on a regular basis and starts to talk less and less to you. That's when the alarm bells start to ring. I'm sure you can imagine where I'm going with that. Okay. Having an actual date of return, a flight ticket, to go back to the Philippines or whichever country you're planning to, wherever you're experiencing the LDR. All right? And you know that your loved one, your partner, fiance, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, is waiting for you. And you know that there's so many days and you start to count them down. I did many countdowns. And it did help a great deal. It psychologically gave me something to look forward to, something to balance. And when I started going down from the hundreds into the tens and then into the singulars, the excitement grew and grew. And that, made everything worthwhile. Fidelity and dedication. Staying faithful to someone isn't an easy thing. Even worse so when you're in an LDR. Once again, this is down to personal strength. Yeah? If you are truly dedicated to this person and the relationship you both have, and you're truly dedicated to being honest and being truthful with that person, you can beat anything. no matter what time it takes. Remember, soldiers have done this for many, many years. A lot of the time it failed, but a lot of the time it also succeeded. There are great stories about that. Having future plans together. This is something you could talk about on Skype or any kind of live video chat that you could speak to. And you can discuss future plans you have together, buying land, making a house, having kids, etc., etc. Things you want to do together. It keeps the relationship fresh. It gives you something to focus onto, something to hold on to, something that will keep you in good stead and keep your relationship strong. Having good communication, and in an often and plentiful way. I said it earlier on, rushing home to go speak to your loved one, getting online, talking every day, keeping that conversation going, keeping that love strong, and keeping the need for each other there. Unless, of course, people don't turn up online. But we're dealing with pros. Being honest. There's an old saying that honesty is the best policy. And yes, I agree, it is the best policy, and we should adopt it in that respect. You've got to. The moment you start to deceive, the moment you start to tell lies, the moment you start to not tell the truth, so to speak, it's when your relationship will die. You'll have to excuse some of the Christmas songs going around here. I don't know if you can hear it, but my neighbour seems to be nuts on them. Christmas is coming. Okay, getting back to what I was saying. Honesty being the best policy. You must be honest with your loved one. Because one bit of dishonesty puts doubts, and those doubts put fears, and those fears, and it just grows and grows and grows like an evil monster. You don't want to go down that road. Your relationship will fail. Right, having belief in one another and your relationship. You really must look at your relationship. And if the old saying that I go by and I live by, if it's worth the prize, it's worth the fight. Okay? No matter what gender. If your ultimate goal is to get back to your loved one, because that person is your prize at the end of the day, she or he is your ultimate goal, then see that as your prize. See them as your prize. Do everything you can to get back at the earliest possible convenience, keeping in mind that your relationship is first, your love is first, your respect and trust is first. It's important. The moment any of those are lost, the relationship's lost. And you might as well just give up. So let's summarize this. No relationship will ever be 100% strong until you're fully together, okay? You're going to have these little hiccups along the way, little fights and disagreements and cultural differences. They affect us all. But you can get through them, okay? If only one side's putting in the effort and the other side won't, the relationship will fail, especially in an LDR. Effort is everything. I know from my own personal experience, I went through hell, and so did my wife. It wasn't easy over a 3-year period. Okay, and I was going back and forth as often as I could physically manage to, and physically afford to, or financially afford to, should I say. Cultural differences are always going to come into play in a relationship, and worse so when it's long distance, because you can't face those cultural differences together, and you can't face them one-on-one. Doing it over Skype isn't always going to work, but it is a great help. So yeah, you know, this is where understanding comes in. Sometimes we may not agree with the cultural issue that might piss you off, Sometimes it's better to keep your mouth shut, let it ride, and then deal with it at a later date in a more calm manner. We've all had it where we've blown our fuses, we've lost our tempers, and we've said things we didn't want to, or we shouldn't have. So calm and patience is everything. Patience is the key word. Your relationship won't survive unless you have that patience. Remember, if your partner's playing around on you, you're going to find out sooner or later. Right now, there would be nothing you could physically do about it because you're stuck abroad. But that's putting it down on or something. Let's just consider that your partner isn't going to do anything bad. Or you're not going to do anything bad to your partner. And let's say that everything's going great, but yet there's still a long time to go before you're going to get back to see them. Not easy. Not easy at all. But be patient. Stay in there. Be there for the long haul. Okay? At the end of the day, it's worth it. And finally, to summarize, we must restrain our wandering eyes. Remember, there's always fruit on another tree that looks tastier. Doesn't necessarily mean it is. Some fruit is riddled with worms. Some fruit is bitter and unripe. A lot of cliches going on here, I know, but they are important. So let's sum it up by saying that the grass is not always greener on the other side. And we have to take that into consideration, because to go with someone for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever it takes you, may ruin years of a good relationship. It's really not worth it. Take all that into consideration. Long distance relationships are hard, but you can get through them by keeping an eye on the things that I have mentioned, by taking into consideration those things. Even just one or two of them can help you a great deal. I know from my own experiences how difficult it can be, how worrying it can be, how frightening even it can be. And if you're worried about your partner philandering, you'll notice the differences. You'll notice the changes, the inconsistencies, the unregularities, or irregularities, sorry. Lost a word there. And those will become apparent to you. Now, I know this is a difficult subject, and I know that you're probably thinking, what's he talking about? But if you review the video for a second time, listen to what I had to say. You'll understand everything that I've gone through here. I've outlined this. I've made myself my own notes that I wanted to go by. And I wanted to give you guys who may or are in an LDR an opportunity to review things. See them from a different point of view. Be patient. Everything will come at the end, and everything will be good. Remember, the closer you get to your day of return, the more exciting it's going to be. And when you finally return, it's the best of ever. Okay, thanks for watching. Me from the Kelmer Chronicles, Perry. Great to have you back. Thank you for watching. And I hope to be back soon with another video just for you. So keep watching, keep safe, and keep hoping. See you later.